It is about that time. Challenge After Show, episode number 10. Can you count to 10? Richard, tell me you could count to 10.
Only on two hands.
All right, so good. You can do it. I can do it. I kind of prefer 8 episodes. I think 10 was a little long for me this season, but it's that accomplishment feeling that they competed, they accomplished what they were able to accomplish in different the winners and second place, third place, but you're kind of on that journey throughout the 10 episodes. So I raise my hands and I say yay that it's finally over, and I actually have a much better ranking this episode. Last ranking was a bit severe. This ranking is a little bit better. But before we do that, I'm Ronnie, turning it over to Richard here. What is your ranking of the episode?
Well, it's the finale. It's got to be a 10. It's the finale. Let's go. Final.
Well, that's what I agree with. I was going to give it like a 9 just because there's a part of me that wanted one player to win over another. So it's like a 9, but if the player, and we'll get to that at the end, would have won, it would have been a 10 because it would have been like my perfect duo as a winning. But I was still happy with the winner. We'll talk about that in a second. Did you have any comments over the whole season? Any takeaways or what you would like to see if they went forward with the season 4?
Well, let me just say it's the finale, but it's TJ's finale. I didn't mention that when I was yelling finale. TJ, I got you. It's your finale.
he's busy on the CBS payroll now.
No, I thought it was a good season overall. I mean, it had a lot of, I would say, especially from the men's, like a lot of notable guys that you've seen before. And it seemed like, each week someone you knew that you've seen for a long time on the other challenges and real worlds was going home. And even the women's side had a lot of those same type of people. Yeah, a couple different people like Ronnie that hasn't been around in a while, and I think some of the people who went home early kind of hurt the women's side. Not because like with Veronica and Raquel, like that's just unfortunate. But yeah, all in all, I'm happy.
Okay, good. This was season 3. If you ever wanted to go back or you started watching it later, we did recap season 1 of Allstars, season 2 of Allstars, and season 3. So big accomplishment as that will go. That's like almost 30 episodes. So this was quite a journey here, and we'll see where it goes after this. But jumping into the episode, we're midway through the final, and the duos are going to go into the kayaks, like it's the kayak portion, which, I struggled with enjoying last week's episode, but I really got excited about where we were going directionally here, because we were kind of left at this really good cliffhanger. That's what I always say. As long as the cliffhanger feels right, you get excited about the next episode watching it a week later. And I did. I was like, okay, let's see what this is going to be. Our duos, or pairs rather, are Nehemiah and Kayla, Brad and Janae, Mark and Kellyanne, and Naya and Wes. Did you have any opinions on either of them? Naya and Wes seemed to do the worst, but Brad was the one with the interesting, almost like the strategy that Nehemiah had with the rowing. You see these players doing things you didn't expect, because Brad's almost like at a 90-degree angle. Well, no, not 90-degree. I don't know what that was. He was darn near sleeping on the boat.
He was laying down, but he was still paddling. As long as you still paddle, I guess.
And he's strong, so I assume he still did a really good job.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up coming in about second or third. No, they came in third place, huh?
Yes.
I mean, but the top 3 were pretty close. They were all pretty close in time. Wes and Naya, they were a bit behind, and everyone was kind of waiting for them. But the other 3 were within it. I mean, who knows with editing, but it looked like just a few seconds or maybe a minute or so within each other.
I should mention when we're going into this, at the leaderboard, it's Janae at 15, Naya at 13, Kayla at 12, Kellyanne at 5. Weird to see Kellyanne do so bad for such a long time. Anyways, Wes at 18, Nehemiah at 15, Brad at 9, and Mark at 3. Just even before we go into the kayaking. Ultimately, like we said, Wes and Naya, they're struggling a bit. Coming in first place, though, is Mark and Kellyanne. So this is kind of like a good moment for her because, again, she did not do that well, in some of the earlier checkpoints. And
Yeah,
who
and
to
she's pretty good on water too. So that I would say that's a little surprising. Although there were some like puzzles, and that's not her strong point either. So
Yeah, it almost feels like they rush to that sometimes. Like, and I think as people, we do this also. Or maybe I do it. It's like you rush to your, oh, I'm not good at that. And it's like, maybe, they do say manifestation and, talking to yourself positively is valuable. So maybe, Janae's won twice, but then Janae seems to always talk really good about herself. So they'll say, like, oh, yeah, Janae's good at puzzles, or Janae, like there was a challenge. I can't remember which one it was, but I was like, oh, Janae would probably be good at that. And it is really a thing of you do have to talk yourself positively. So maybe I don't know. Is it cheesy to think that they shouldn't be talking so bad about themselves? Like, oh, I'm bad at puzzles. Like you shouldn't say that, right?
yeah, I mean, some people with like the secret, throw it out into the atmosphere, and if you throw it out, you'll start believing it, and it will come true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not. It's good in terms of like if you're doing strategy and you're like, oh, I better pick this player because they're better at puzzles. I'm not really that great at puzzles. But I'm saying over the course of the couple seasons, maybe like 4 or 5 seasons now, beyond Challenge All Stars, but the flagship one as well. I feel like I keep hearing people really say, "Oh, I'm not good at puzzles." I'm like, well, you don't want to lose, you don't want to just throw in the towel. It was just something I kind of noticed, and I wanted to get your viewpoint on that.
Yeah, no, I always throw the positivity in the atmosphere. Don't put yourself down. Like you're already half defeated if you're saying you can't do something.
Like if I said I'm not good at podcasting right now, I'd probably stutter or not stutter, but like flub on a bunch of shit. But if you're like, damn it, it's episode 10, here we go. Suddenly that like goes through your soul and you feel a little bit more uplifted. So just something maybe to think about. I know it's a little bit like kumbaya, but whatever. As I said, first place was Mark and Kellyanne. Second place was Nehemiah and Kayla, so they'll pick up the 3 points. Janae and Brad are with 2 points. And then in fourth place, Naya and Wes with 1 point. And at this point, Janae has 17 and Wes has 19. So they're the two top ranking on the leaderboard. So even though Wes did, bad here and only picked up 1 point, he was that far ahead. So that's actually quite intriguing and good for him to be that far ahead that you can, go that, that in that low of a placing at that time.
Yeah, and we know Nehemiah and Jenny started with the extra 5, so West didn't even start with the extra 5 points. So like to still be ahead after coming in last place,
Yeah.
that is a credit of how well he's been doing at the start of this competition.
Did you like the random? We talked about this a little bit last episode, but did you like the random 5 points? I mean, do you feel like that was a fair, easy way to do it in terms of like somebody like Brad? Did Brad ever go into the arena?
No, he never went into it.
So one of the stronger players doesn't get a chance to get that lead. I mean, that's kind of tough.
Yeah, but he could always jumped in. So it's I mean, it's the well. Do you put your? How important are these stars to you? Type thing.
And no one knows, yeah.
Yeah.
And even if he said I wanted to jump in, one of the big strategies you do is you don't give anyone what they want. So
This is true.
we've seen
You
that.
you don't want Brad with all 5 stars and going
Yeah.
into the final.
So then they move on after they move on. More head-to-head matchups. The game they're going to play is King of the Hill, and this is actually a throwback of TJ's very first event within the challenge. So that was a cool little flashback, I thought. They're doing King of the Hill on a floating little board or whatnot. I think the board was a little bit small. I kind of would have liked to see it a little bit larger. That way you could have had more physical pushing, and I don't know what the words I'm looking for, but it just felt like if you got the first hit, I guess, on the person, they with momentum were going to just come off of that board. So that would have been my only thing. But I love this challenge. I thought this was great.
I understand what you're saying. I would say maybe they set it up smaller just so it would go quicker, type thing. You don't want to be up there for 20 minutes.
Mm.
30 minutes, 40 minutes per heads up. Where it seemed like all these went pretty quick within a couple seconds of each other. So maybe they were trying to just move on throughout the day.
That's true. Well, the matchups are Brad versus Wes, Mark versus Nehemiah, Naya versus Kellyanne, and Kayla versus Janae. And the overall theme, Richard, was you're going to want to pick somebody you could beat because you want to get the 5. So you're basically looking for the weakest player every time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't I don't know. You got to be one of the top two people to get in those top two spots, and then it's who you pick from there. But I like the idea of the 5-0 because you could catch up on points right away if you're facing someone that has more points, or you could almost step on someone's throat. You might say if you got the lead and you end up being the person right behind you.
Oh, right, right. And then even as far as the picking, it's based on you can't pick unless you're there early. So you do have to be winning or placing first.
Yeah, the first two I think don't face each other, and then they get to pick from the second two that show up.
I wonder if the first two could face off each other if they wanted.
It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look. It looks like you get the power to choose.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
more the power to choose. So, I mean, it would be interesting because if you are first and say the person you're chasing is in second, and you think you could beat them in a game that you're looking at, I mean, that would be a game move.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to let him or her go up against somebody they could beat and then get 5 and I get 5. Like, yeah, you want to make sure they get 0 and I get you get the 5. Interesting. We didn't think about that. Let's talk about these matchups. We've got Wes versus Brad. I think the edit was actually a little more favorable from Wes. I think they showed us a clip of over Mark's back and Wes being pushed, but it was the exact same move, like physical maneuver that we saw from the aerial shot. So I don't think Wes struggled that much. I think as soon as Mark oh no, it wasn't Mark, it was Brad.
Brad
Yeah.
didn't struggle that much against Wes.
I think as soon as Brad gave a little jolt, Wes was gone. And it was nice though. They have a good friendship, so he says, I really needed those points. And actually
Well, he did
Brad did.
because yeah, Wes was down. Wes was leading. He only got 1 point on the one, and then he got 0 there. So it makes it a lot closer for the guy side.
Yeah, and I like Brad, and I don't want to see him, not doing so well. So this was an exciting moment, and Wes had points to give. Really, we've got Kellyanne versus Naya. Major size difference. I in my notes just put great effort by Kellyanne because like if it was someone like you and I and we had to go up against like a CT, I'd be like, nope. So, but then again,
it did seem like Kellyanne got on her heels a little bit, but then Naya just had to like sidestep once and push, and Kellyanne she had to use so much force just to move her. Her momentum was working against her once Naya kind of sidestepped a little bit and pushed her into the water.
so this is a kudos to Kellyanne and not a knock to Naya, especially in my example here. I'm saying, oh, if I had to go up against somebody big like CT. Then again, CT's a bona fide winner on the show. No knock to Naya. She's bigger, but she's not necessarily, somebody who has proven as a winner on this show just yet. So it was it looked more intimidating than maybe it was. No knock to Naya again, but it was nice to see Kellyanne dig in. And Kellyanne has just been so warm and sweet, and she's just been a fun watch these last couple of episodes. I don't know if it was because she went through a whole house that hated her for so many episodes. Now she's just kind of living, and I like it.
I think it's because towards the end what'd she say in the one episode? Just giving 0 fucks anymore.
Yeah, my give a fuck meter has just ran out.
Oh yeah, it's running low or something.
So she's like a little loopy even. It's funny. So we've got Nehemiah versus Mark. Mark obviously destroys Nehemiah and he gets really happy and proud and all that stuff. And I'm coming for you, Wes. So he's given a little bit of his wrestling audition tape
kind of vibe. See Nehemiah in the water just kind of flown away. He's just like a sketch artist, after a scene, CIS, and they do the little outline. He's just floating, smiling. Even it's as if he wasn't even 2 seconds ago wasn't up battling. So it was a peaceful Nehemiah. Yes, you're right about that. And it was Mark channeling in on his, I'm gonna get you, Wes. Don't you? I'm not out of the game yet. His wrestling montage was coming out, especially with he won the first half or the first leg, so he got 4 points there, and then he gets 5 points with beating Nehemiah. That's 9 points, and he probably only had 3 to 5 points the whole first day.
Yeah. Yeah, you
or the
feel
first episode, I guess I should say.
the first portion of it. Yeah, you feel the momentum that he has, and of course, he always does this for his mother, and he does it for everyone. Really, he does it for I'm going to do this at 50 years old. Maybe I'm not as good at this, but I'm still going to be good at that. So he's a really fun watch. Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, just I mean, that's pretty much that portion. But it was good to see. Like, you don't want to see any competitor just get demolished the whole time. So with Mark making that little comeback, it gives them that little bit of hope too, which the little sparkle in the eye.
Yeah, Janae also has a sparkle in the eye. She wins. She has her mom's strength. She refers it to. You basically know that all 5 points go to all of the winners, which will equal the leaderboard for Janae at 22 for the women and Wes for the men at 19 as your top spots in the leaderboard. Okay, so after they do King of the Hill, the new pairs are going to be it's right to the next thing, on to the next. Brad and Janae. Which would probably be the two that I want to win. That's my note that I put next to Brad and Janae's name right here. That these are like the two that I would love to see win the final. Mark and Naya, Nehemiah and Kellyanne, Wes and Kayla. Each team must transport 100 pounds of sandbags to a checkpoint. So the question to you, Richard, or me, or everyone is, what is the game plan here? Do you pick up what you can hold? Do you pick up the whole amount of 100? Does the guy carry more? Does the woman carry more? Like, what is the goal? And also my question to you is, which team were you impressed by once it started?
Well, you're impressed by Mark and Naya, because they're just two people just trucking through the woods and trying to pass people. You don't know how far you're going, so it's hard to say what's the right strategy until hindsight, and then you actually know the distance and everything. But definitely turns out to look like that carrying the full 100 was the way to go on this one.
Oh, instead of the two trips?
Yeah. But
Well,
you don't know how far you're going, so it
I
makes
almost
sense.
I almost wondered if, like, would there have been a world where they went faster and could have gotten there and back? I mean, they did. The problem is they did take all the weights, Nehemiah and Kellyanne, but then they also didn't make up time. That's what they needed to do. If you're going to do that, they needed to make up like a severe amount of time, and it felt like they barely did make up any time as far as being there quicker.
Yeah, well, they didn't know how far they were going, so it's like, how much of your energy do you use if you don't know how far you're going and then you're carrying all this weight? Is it more of a walking carrying the weight, or is it a run carrying the weight type challenge? And it seemed like it was more of a quick type walk.
What would make you think it was quicker?
Well, just one trip, knowing where they were going. Like, the further and further away the destination is probably the more you want to carry, and the slower you want to go with the walk, because it's more of a steady pace. Now, if it was a little bit quicker or closer, you sprint there with your 30 pounds or whatever and get back, sprint if it's real close. But you don't know how far it is until you get going.
Well, they should have got to know that. Why didn't no one tell them?
Well, I mean, you can't tell them everything.
Excuse me, I'm yawning here. Do you think that if they would ask TJ, he had the authority to tell them?
He would not have told them.
Oh, this is crazy.
No, you don't tell them. You get to let them make their decisions. I probably carry the weight as far as I can anyway, and I take all the bags. And if it gets too heavy, like one team did, like, just drop it. We'll come back for it if we have to.
Oh,
So going all the way back, yeah.
The only problem there is, what if you lose track of where they're at?
Well, you figure if you leave them on the trail, they should be there. And
another philosophy is just take them all, and you as a team just make stop together, like just stop and then pick up and then stop. You ever move furniture? Hold on, let's put it down real quick, like that kind of vibe.
Pivot.
Yeah, pivot real quick. I said pivot. Well, I'll just say, as far as Kellyanne and Nehemiah, I think it's frustrating because when you see that big of a difference where you're gonna have to go back and these people have all their sandbags for 100 pounds, it's almost impossible to beat them. So I
And
would have
he's probably
been,
the smallest guy, and she's probably the smallest girl, so they were probably already handicapped from the get go.
yeah, and they went so quick. They didn't really check with anyone else. They didn't see what anyone else was doing. They kind of just went for it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they picked up half of it, so it's like, what's extra 20 pounds to get it all?
Yeah.
Then not. I mean, 100 pounds is 100 pounds. I mean, it's heavy, but you figure what, 60, 40, 65, um, 65, 35, 75, 25, something like that to split it up. Um, what's the extra couple pounds like to get it all and make one less trip?
Well, if you're strong like Naya and Mark, you just do it in one trip.
Yeah,
Mark
it looked
and
like
his
they were carrying pillows.
confessional was just really fun because it was like, oh yeah, me and Naya, we're like the same person, and they transpose her head on Mark's body, and it's funny, and they're having a good time, and they just Naya really feels confident and strong, being a top player. So she's kind of being that fourth quarter athlete or whatever she said that she was. It was good to see, and again, we're seeing more momentum with Mark, which you said a second ago.
Yeah, giving
Um,
everyone a shot.
Ending this checkpoint. Oh, and there was one thing I noticed. I noticed that I don't know if this actually happened, but Janae says, "Oh, I want to I'll carry the 60 pounds, you carry the 40 pounds, Brad." But in my television production viewing eye,
What
I,
would they say? Are you going behind the curtain a little bit?
yeah, I felt like there might have been a voiceover. Of course, we didn't see any lips, so if you don't see any lips, you could never know where the VO comes from. Um, I was like, wait a minute, was that sent in later? The end of the sentence made sense. Like, oh, should we try that? But it was like, what was the should we try? But they made it seem like the should we try that was alluding to, oh, okay, Brad, I'll carry 60 pounds and you carry 40 pounds. And then they went into an actual confessional where she's like, I carry my kids around and I know what I'm doing. So if it's real or if it isn't real, it's a good Janae moment. So that's just enough of the behind the curtain. But I was like, wait a minute, I don't know if I see any movement of her lips at all, and it kind of sounds slightly different. But it's a good story, and that's like the story that Janae's been telling is that she really just is a mother, and she keeps doing really well in these competitions. Anyways, Mark and Naya, like we say, won, ending the checkpoint. At this stage, the leaderboard rather is going to be Janae 24, West 22. So even though West wasn't dominating, he still is up there in the numbers. So those are the top two. Lots of emotions. The competitors are exhausted. I think they got extra exhausted seeing Kellyanne and Nehemiah come in last place, but it kind of feels like a ending of the day. Didn't you feel that, like that little sense of, whew, they've done a lot. Let's take a beat. That's what I kind of felt at that moment.
I mean, you can feel the overnight coming on, if that's what you're saying. Like almost that portion of the. I mean, if you watch the last so many, the overnight seems like the hardest part of all these finals. So it seems like that's
Yes.
coming on. They're relaxing, they're watching them come in and stuff like that.
I think that they should just I think that I like a little bit of that slower beat, taking a little breath. I thought that was good. But you're right, it's because it's the overnight. So overnight portion, they're essentially assuming it's gonna go as bad. How do you describe it? They're essentially assuming it'll be as bad as it's been, where typically you don't get to sleep. But it turns out they're gonna sleep on a yacht
Surprise
for
alert! Whoop!
yeah, you're sleeping on a yacht, which I feel so
No,
deserving of that.
well, TJ throws us a curveball, and it's almost like, wait, what's going on? Or is he joking? Like, what? There's got to be something in the final there, um, because he says that they're all, they're going to sleep on the yacht with the $500,000 and get some rest before the next day. And you haven't seen this on a final ever, I don't think so. It's definitely different. There's
Well,
no, we've seen in the past them having to stand up while their partner's on like or rock sleeping for 10 minutes and then they got switch back and forth, or bugs, or just a bunch of crazy stuff.
Well, there's a couple things in the confessional regarding something different, but still in the same vein of this. Janae had mentioned, oh, to Brad, look, I can't stop. If we keep going, I could do it, but I can't stop. Once I stop, like I'm gonna, stop. I'm going to not be continuing. And I think there was a little bit of level of that with Wes in the confessional too, where he says, oh, I want to just keep on going. Like at this point, I could keep going. Other people might be worn out, but I don't want us to get rest. Rest is gonna equalize everything. So
Yeah,
that was
some people train for the longer endurance part, so it's like, yeah, let's keep going. And you don't want people. I mean, you would think Mark's not really endurance. I don't know, Brad. I mean, Brad seems like he could do a little bit of everything, but if you give those guys like more time to like heal up, get energy, get food in their body, it's going to help certain people a little bit more than other people.
yeah, don't let my competitor, get back in the best shape of their life. No, that's not good for me. The only thing I kept saying is what's the catch? What's the catch? I was thinking like there was stuff you had to see in the yacht. Maybe that was important. I just there had to be something, but it kind of didn't turn into being anything other than them just getting some time to actually enjoy the yacht. So that was a
The
bit of a
experience,
surprise.
which is, yeah, I mean, all the times in these finales, it's such a sprint and like go go go, and you're half awake, half asleep, half hungry, or half full of guts of eating some weird food, where you don't get to enjoy it. They actually let them have even champagne. You can see them sipping on some champagne and enjoying the yacht and the outside. So that's kind of cool. It's All Star, so I don't mind seeing stuff like this on the All Star version either.
Well, imagine you don't win. It's of course so stressful to be that close and not win. But at least you walk away with like, damn, I did a damn good job. I almost won. I accomplished so much. And I spent a night on a yacht and woke up beyond spending the night in the yacht. I woke up with with the waterfront view. Like that, if that doesn't make you feel more like a champion, and this is All Stars, to be a champion on this show, I don't know what does. And that was the thing that got me. I was a little shocked though that some of the people had a little bit of motion sickness. I've not been on many boats, I suppose, but I've never really gotten that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing they're in the ocean, so Panama, you're probably in the Atlantic if you're on that side. So I mean, you get heavy currents and heavy, water movement. You can move that yacht side to side pretty good, so it's definitely possible.
That feels like a great way to go to sleep. You ever if you ever in someone's car and you go to sleep in the car because the car's just kind of like rolling on the in New York in the subway, it's the easiest place to go to sleep because the subway cart
Well,
is
if
just
it's
kind
a
of rocking.
soft roll, but if it's a hard roll that's knocking you side to side, it might be
I'm just
tougher.
saying, I fell asleep on the subway many a times, on the train many a times because of the cool roll. But I don't know. You're right. I've not been in this type of boat situation, but the little times I've been on small boats, they've always been really nice. But maybe it was something, and it's another possible issue, because someone could get sick or
Yeah, and you're in the
overwhelmed.
ocean, so there's no like breakwater. We get on a boat over here in a marina. It's like you have the break wall and all that stuff to make it not as choppy. But once you get out to the choppy part,
Well, I'm
that's
just
where
trying to
they're at.
I'm just trying to manifest my next competition where I'm on a yacht. That's all I'm trying to
Oh yeah,
do.
yeah,
So
yeah. Can I sign up? I want to sign up for the
so
yacht portion,
I'd like
please.
to go on below deck and somebody else pay for it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you guys do the work and serve me.
Didn't we talk about the manifestation earlier? Putting it in their universe. Okay, so for the next day though, or not the next day per se, but the what they're talking about, Mark says he's fighting for his mother. We've heard that a couple of times, but it felt, extra level of sincerity here, just based on, thinking like what she gets up for, what she's going through so much, but like to see her son keep achieving, like there's kind of a synergy there. So it's nice to see Mark when he is going to sleep. He has this little WWE wrestler or WWF. I don't know what it's called. Which one is it called now?
WWE now.
Yeah. So Mark is with this little wrestler. That's been a common little thing. I almost feel like they could have a little segment of their own, but they're quite funny. I'd actually like to see Mark or Brad as the winners, so it was kind of tough to decide when they were talking to each other because you're like both of them are stellar competitors, and I'm on board for them. Oh, get it on board like the yacht. I'm on
Yep.
board for them winning. There was a heartfelt talk also with Naya, Nehemiah, and Janae, which was sweet. And as we said before, the players are getting seasick. Anything else you take away from that experience?
Nah, that just it's the experience that they'll never forget and stuff. But as to the competition, not too much.
Okay.
So I mean, I would just say like it's pretty much like, all right, we know the next day once we hit it, we're going to hit it running.
On the yacht the next morning, as I was saying, I thought it was beautiful. That's the takeaway. I don't win competition, but not but it's as a consolation prize, you at least got that experience. Like, dang, I competed, I slept on a yacht, and I woke up the next morning and tried to win $500,000 or $250,000 or whatever it is. That's just a cool experience. TJ pulls up, he's ready to go. The top points of course are Janae at 24, Wes at 22. Nehemiah and Nia are to follow behind. But the twist that we have now is that the bottom four have to battle it out for the last two spots. I wasn't like completely into this right away because I've said before that I like you being eliminated if you're going to a checkpoint and you're the last two. So let's say it was the kayak, it would have been Wes and Naya. But I was also okay with it. It was because it was hard. Did
I
you
liked it just because it was points wise. Like I would have felt like bad for Wes if he's winning every competition, and there's the kayak, the one that he lost, and then
was he
he
winning
goes
every
home.
competition?
Well, he was in the lead of the leaderboard, not winning every competition, but he was the leaderboard leader pretty much the whole time for the guys.
Did you like the game? The bottom
So
four battle it out for the last two spots. So the bottom four are basically doing a crossword puzzle, and they're matching the locations with past challenges on this map puzzle type thing. So they basically have to spell out the words. And that information was actually hung in the house, and I don't think any of them looked at it.
yeah,
Not that it would even be easy to learn, because spelling is hard in itself.
yeah. I mean, I like it in general. The whole competition, the whole someone goes home because, like, I think I mentioned, I felt bad for Derek and was it Gisela? Like they did one thing, lost, went home. At least these guys got to do half of the things. And the reason they were in this 2-for-2 battle, or one against one, I guess you would say, is because they were low on points. But at least gave them time to build up. But this crossword puzzle in general, I guess it's just one of those things like trivia. It's kind of funny to see who knows what when they're kind of like delusional, half asleep. I mean, I think this would have been better to do before they got to the yacht when they were tired instead of like well rested and already, a good night's sleep. Because you already saw like some people having trouble. Like I think Mark had Brazil with the S
And you're
and
thinking that's
like little
hard.
stuff.
You're thinking it's harder because they just woke up. You think if they would
No,
have
I
done it?
think it would have been harder if they would have done it before the yacht
Oh, okay.
because they got good food, good night's sleep. So I wish they would have done that before, and then the top three would have been on the yacht.
Oh,
And
but that would have been hard for you to be like, okay, I'm leaving, and I didn't get to enjoy that
well, that's
experience.
exactly what it is. And then even the three that are left are like, wow, look at us three, like the night before, and they could even enjoy it a little bit more.
Oh, like separating between the you were either being eliminated or you were gonna go on the yacht, and you kind
Yeah.
of see it. Yeah, it is always good when they make you see what you missed out on. The only thing that the people that got voted out here, or not voted out, but eliminated, they missed out on the food. But we'll get to that in a minute. Anyways, the song that's playing while they're playing the game is Lisa Stansfield, "Been Around the World." So that's like a perfect song, a great
Can you
song.
sing it?
Been around the world and I can't
Ay,
find
ay,
my
ay.
baby. I don't know why I don't know. Well, I think that's all you could sing of it, or else Lisa Stansfield, copyright's gonna come jumping over here and saying, Ronnie, we don't love your voice, or maybe they do. Maybe they do love my been around the world and I.
That's all I got.
Now that did not sound like the song at all. That is not what it sounded like. I got to tell you. Our winners are Brad and Kayla. It just felt like a little bit of experience, but a little bit of luck too, because this was a hard competition. It just was, like you say. Mark saying Brazil, instead of Brazil, or I don't even know how to say it anymore. But
There
he
was
spelled it wrong.
Thailand in Thailand.
Yeah, I mean, it just gets so tough to say everything, and
Well, and that's why I thought it'd be better when they were more tired as well, because then your mind's even more of like loopiness. So if they would have done it the night before, but still, even after a whole night's sleep and a good breakfast, they were still getting little things wrong.
they were having two competitors, I think, or was it one, messed up on USA. So you knew you were in a bad spot if USA. Oh, someone wrote California. Like, all right, so this is. Oh, it's a state. Damn it.
They wrote Cancun when it should have been Mexico.
Yeah, so it was fun to watch. Brad and Kayla win. Kellyanne and Mark leave. Both great attitudes. We get two montages. And they go out like champions, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing wrong with both of them. They're two of my favorites. Um, I actually thought Kellyanne would do better, and she probably would have been one of my favorites out of the girls to win it. But not everything goes your way, and like I said at the start, all four guys and all four girls were pretty good competitors. So, I mean, you could easily see if they did the same competitions another day, it'd be flipped around one way, or the way it was going.
Yeah. We've got the top six start solo, so now no teams. This is, to me, the best part of it. I'm not a fan
Yeah,
of
now
all.
it's like no more else. It's me against you. Let's go. Everyone's by themselves. And I wish they would have done this a little bit longer than they did, but they still did
Well,
a couple
I have
different spots.
another gripe about the pairings, and I didn't mind the pairings in other seasons. What I found interesting here, and I guess there's no way to fix this problem other than making them go solo at some point, is I felt like there was a low investment of connection, and something. One of the things I like to see in the challenge, especially in a final, is that rigorous, like tenacious fighting for it. But if you have a teammate that is, what is it, inconsequential to your actual victory, so they really don't matter to you, it's just like you're watching a little more of a boring season. And I think if you're going to have teams, and if you're breaking them away, that's fine too, but have the teams that were kind of fighting together. I sometimes feel like it's a little bit better if the teams they went into the final with were teammates that they were in with before. Wasn't there one of the challenge seasons here where they were teammates with the person the whole time, and then they didn't really switch up as much?
Yeah, I mean, the good and the bad for me with that. I think this group would have worked well with it, because almost all four challenges were about the same, guys and girls. I mean, obviously, some people you might like say were a little bit better, but there wasn't too. On some seasons, it's like, oh, if you get that partner, you're done, and that for the even if the person's like the best person in the world. So when that happens, I don't like it as much, because it's like some people aren't even a chance to win if they have a partner that's not very good. But with these final eight, I think you could have done that and it would have worked out really well.
Yeah. Well, I was more happy about this moment, so this feels like we just feel closer to the end, and the victory, and I like that. Wes arrives first once everything gets going. 2 pounds of liver, crickets, etc., etc., etc. There was a quote that he said, like, he's got this, he's got that, he's got this, he's got that, but he says, "What the f am I doing with my life?" Because he had to eat all that junk. Um, Brad gets there and he said he's never had to do a food challenge, which is kind of amazing. He's been in so many of these and he's never had to do anything like this. Now, when he is consuming this food, we'll say, he says that he burps up blood. And he's like, I don't know if that's my blood or like from one of the brains I just ate. Did he say that?
Yeah. I mean,
um,
it didn't look that great.
there was a shot, I think, when Naya was eating it and they had a shot and it looked like all of it was, there was like an odor even. It was bad.
Oh yeah, I always watch this part. of the challenge with kind of one eye open, one eye closed, and maybe that eye kind of on my phone.
And
just
shame on
because
the
there's just because there's so much. Though I mean, it's kind of a staple now. So like, if you win a challenge without an eating competition, it's like, did you really win a challenge?
and shame on the editor for leaving that shot of Wes's beard being, looking like baby food was dripping from it for so long.
Well,
Like
that's why I wasn't looking. I turned ahead. I think I had to check the weather for tomorrow if it was going to be hot or warm
the
at
shot
that
was
point.
forever. Then he already did his voiceover or confessional around it, and it's already got like the slow motion cinematic like effect. And I'm just like, change the shot. We don't want to see it. The only thing that I did take from that is I asked a question, like, for any competitor, would you rather do what they did or would you rather do the spicy challenge? It was one of the things I thought of.
Probably the spicy
But it feels
because
like didn't Darrell have a really hard time with the spicy?
yeah. But I mean that's just everyone. Some people would take the spicy better. To me, I think it'd be harder to run after 2 pounds of food in my belly. That's terrible.
Well, as far as mass, yes, but the way that they said that the chilies went down, like that was ruining their esophagus and everything.
Well, I feel like I can handle my chilies a little bit better than you can.
Oh, I'm not doing it at all. No, I'm never doing the challenge.
Uh,
Fuck that.
no, but yeah, some people just handle chilies better. But however, yeah, that was Carolina Reefer, I believe, chili. So I'm not trying to do either, but if I had to choose, I think I would go with the pepper.
Yeah, I don't what you said a second ago, it's a staple of the challenge. I don't like that it is. But then again, I don't like that they have to stay up overnight either. Um, you know, but these are things that
You
are
just want them on the yacht, having fun and having,
sure.
having
No, I
champagne.
like a lot of no,
Champagne, sir. Would you like a charcuterie board?
I like a lot of running. I like a lot of like climbing things. I like it to feel like maybe Amazing Race, that kind of vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we get a little bit of that towards the end of this one.
Yeah. Well, Wes does finish first, followed by Janae, then Brad. Upon the next checkpoint, which is really kind of like now we're on the ocean, so we're really getting close, you're supposed to complete a puzzle of a star, and then you're going to grab a surfboard and move on. In my mind, I'm thinking they're grabbing the surfboard and they're going right to the yacht, but they don't.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought so too. I was like, oh man.
yeah, Wes, which is actually good that there was multiple checkpoints along the water because it does open up if you don't do well in the food challenge and you're going to be kind of devastated, which we get in a moment with Naya who feels like should we even continue, and Nehemiah really graciously supports her and is like, no, you could do it, you could do it, you could do it. So I think the element of that is like having all those last challenges or checkpoints or whatever like next to each other, feels like you're so close yet you're so far, which is again what we kind of say that you like to see in terms of like, oh, you're voted out, oh, the rest of them are going on a yacht, bye. That makes for a really
Bye.
that makes for a really good show. Yeah. Anyways, so they got the surfboard and then move on, as I said. Okay, Wes starts first. Janae and Brad start, but Wes is on his surfboard, keeping him in a nice lead, so he's like way ahead of them. But back at the food challenge, okay, I just mentioned that a bit ago about Naya and Nehemiah. But I was gonna say though before, there was a Mariah Carey song playing in the background, and I liked that. I thought that was like really supportive. Anyways, moving on. Janae gets the surfboard. She gets running, as does Brad. So they're all kind of like not neck and neck, but they're like Wes and neck. Like Wes is ahead, and everyone else is kind of really falling behind, except for Naya and Nehemiah, who are a little further back. Wes at another checkpoint sees that you have to build these pyramids of blocks, and it's a windy beach, so that's a bit of a challenge. Did you have something on that, Rich?
Well, did they say it had to be a pyramid, or you had to have just everyone, like every block?
I think it had to be a pyramid because if you were able to build outwards, you would have used more like structural leverage. If you did it just a pyramid, like with not like a 3-dimensional option, it's more narrow, so it's probably harder.
Yeah, no, I'm guessing it probably was that just because of the way they all kind of built it. But
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I didn't hear that at the end.
Well,
So it's just
we
kind
were
of
only getting the information from Wes, who's tired, and he's like, okay, we're at the checkpoint. We're doing, like he's essentially has to word it to the audience. So that was the only way we were able to see is through his words, actually.
yeah.
Um, our top four are Wes, Janae, Brad, and Kayla. Janae's puzzle falls down. She's obviously frustrated. I think if I was there, when her puzzle fell down, was Kayla already starting?
No, I don't think. I think they did that because to make it look closer than it was.
Yeah, I think her puzzle fell down, but not
Because
that
I
close.
think she was already halfway done by the time Kayla showed up.
Okay. Wes recalls about like he's in the lead. He knows that, but he recalls a moment on the duel where he has to where he remembers rather that Brad was kind of gaining on him. So he kind of checks back into that moment that like you never know here. You can't assume your lead is that good, even if you could see the guy next to you. So that kind of lights a little fire under him also. Now here's where it feels like, oh boy, it's all Wes's game. He finishes, he kicks down his pyramid, and he gets going to the next phase. So cue the song is the '90s hit, "A Blind Melon, No Rain," which sounds really good. Um, he kicked down the pyramid. Then Janae finishes and she kicks down the pyramid, and Kayla and Brad are right behind them. My question: Wes did it first. He kicks to the right or left. I can't remember. But what if one of your pieces would have hit another person's puzzle, like their setup? You could get a disqualification, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Like Wes felt like he was far enough and he was kicking on the right side where there was no one next to him. But I got a little nervous when Janae put her little leg up there. No, not that she's short or anything, but she didn't. And I was like, oh shit, Janae, don't do that, because if you do it and you kick one of your pieces onto Kayla's puzzle, which will knock her, not her puzzle, but her pyramid.
maybe with editing they just had her do it later, like they left it up
Oh,
and then they say go kick it. But yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
well, then I thought the other thing I said was, or is there a part of this that we don't know that says you have to kick it down? Like, I'm like, did we not see that part of the instructions also?
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of this though. Like throughout I feel like Brad had one where he kicked down, and then like Kellyanne kicked one down. Like it's almost like they said, "All right, let's kick some stuff down."
Yeah, no, and I get it for every other challenge, but I'm gonna tell you, if I'm neck and neck with somebody for $250,000, um, I was like, oh shit, if you do that and you hit Brad or you hit Kayla, and again, they might not have been that close in the way we see the shot. It might have looked like they were like just right next to you. But I'm like, if she does that and Kayla's chips go down, they would have to reward Kayla with the victory, right?
Yeah, I mean, in a world
In a
where,
world, yeah.
I mean,
I was onto something,
yeah,
wasn't I?
yeah, I mean,
I didn't think it was
uh,
West because he was there so early and he didn't really kick towards anyone. But when she did it, I was like, you might have to get like a little penalty, and Kayla would have started. Not to say Kayla can't continue that lead, but
yeah, I mean, I'm guessing at the
you,
end of
you're guessing it's not that serious.
no, I think it is serious, but I'm just guessing that they left it up or something and said go back and kick it, like you're done.
I was like, Janae, don't get rid of your lead by gloating. But again, if the sign said you have to do that, but I don't think it is. I think it's what you said, that they've been doing this all season. Derek jumped through. Remember when Derek jumped through the his little whatever he was stacking? They've kind of all done that.
Yeah,
Anyways, if you're a Janae fan, you were like for 1 second, and then you were like, okay, I feel better. I mentioned that Wes recalls the duel, so he's kind of like, okay, well, a lead is a lead is a lead, but you just never know. But no, he's in the water and he is on his way to the yacht. I had said that I wanted to see something monumental. I love when they were climbing up the mountain. I feel like that's like that I want something to look very extravagant when you're going for your victory. and rowing out there on your surfboard and jumping onto the platform of the yacht is perfect. And seeing the chest right there, does feel really good. Um,
And I do feel like they've done this before, type of ending. I want to say it might have been Wes as well with Rivals 2 and him and CT won. I think him and CT. There was one where CT won and they had like swim to the yacht and they get to the
Wait, was
yacht at
that
the
was
very.
that one of CT's first wins?
I think so. It might have been
Who,
CT's
who
first
was
win.
who was his teammate?
Wes.
Oh, this kind of sounds familiar. So Wes is now a 3-time winner,
And I think
and
it
that
was
was
like
one of his wins.
Emily and Paula or something like that. Or the
Were they wearing?
girls.
Were they what? You don't know what uniform color they were
Oh no
wearing.
no no.
That's how I could. That's how I could
But
locate
so I
it.
remember. So I was watching this one. I was like, oh, it's kind of like the one CT one, and I think it's Rivals 2 with him and Wes. They won it, and they had to like kayak or swim to the yacht at the end. But it is a nice finish because it's like, oh, here we go, we're going to the yacht, and and you just kind of see it out there, and it's, I mean, God, who wouldn't want to be in a environment like that, knowing you won, knowing you're on a yacht, knowing everything you put into that game. So, I it
No,
was kind
my
of like a little throwback.
my heart was beating with happiness for the two winners, and I guess the only way to make it more competitive or cutthroat or like on the edge of your seat is if someone like Janae and Kayla were neck and neck or whatever. So you do have the potential of it being really tight, but you know that one man and one woman are going to win, and they get on the platform on the yacht, and I'm like so happy for the two of them. I had stated that Brad and Janae were maybe the ones I wanted to win. Um, but I'm still very happy for Wes and Janae as the winners. I sensed a little bit of maturity through Wes, and that was really great. Rather than him like gloating, he kind of took a little, time to just be proud, and we love to see it. So the two of them, $250,000. Okay. After the government takes some from you, you still got a lot to play with. So that's really good for them. Okay. Oh, did you have a comment on the two of them
No,
in
can
the
I get
victory?
$20 for gas, maybe?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Take me to a nice dinner, please. Um, Kayla and Brad, they're walking somber. The song Toy Soldier comes on. I'm just feeling all the emotions watching this. Like, I'm like, oh, I was just so happy. I was so happy. And now I'm like, oh, God, I'm so sad. Like, imagine you work that hard and you don't get to get anything, You don't get second place gets, $20,000. Damn. So it's quite emotional to me. I don't know if you feel that because you tend to be more of a who is the winner type, but I was a little like sad at the moment for Kayla and Brad. I was full of emotion.
My man Brad. No, I mean it's always bittersweet, I think probably those losses you never forget if you're one of them. But you got to enjoy the moment of you being in Panama, doing an experience that no one else really gets to do besides the select few that have been on these challenges. So there's a part of reflection of you kind of feeling like I accomplished, I got to the end. Yes, I may not have won, but I went as far as I could go, and not even but two other people can say that.
Yeah, it's a unifying thing. I always wonder, like, when they do this, does this, especially the girls, Kayla, Kellyanne, who wasn't in the top three, but and Naya and even Janae, like, does this kind of unify them? So, like, in this season that we watched, season 3, the treehouse was based on friendships from past. Does this make it like Naya and Kelly and Kayla and Janae? They would be like a team next
Yeah,
go
I
at
mean,
this?
we've
Because
seen people who are enemies and then they finish a finale together and it almost kind of fixes their relationship.
that's what I was feeling. I was feeling like if you go through this with somebody, like that's my girl. At this point, that's my guy. I got his back. If you do, and I was kind of feeling that. And then of course we see Naya and Nehemiah kind of get the information that it is over. But it was pretty much an all around good sportsmanship vibe. I think Brad was doing a lot of the talking. I liked the way Kayla said, I'm crying or I'm happy and I'm sad, but I'm happy that I won, a little sad that I lost. It just felt like such a natural emotion. And Kayla seemed to be very opinionated, very strong with, getting her treehouse together, really good at confessionals. But what I will say about Kayla this last two episodes is she really did stay consistent. She put her head down and did the work. So there's a part of me that, maybe not this season, but was very proud to see her go that far, and maybe she can win one of these things.
And
I
she's
and I
always
would,
been a good competitor, and she is one of the youngest ones. So, like, I mean, she's got plenty of time, and she could even go back to the flagship show probably if she wanted to.
yeah, she impressed me as far as that goes because I would have when you watch what was it, Go Big or Go Home, Las Vegas. You never necessarily thought Kayla you'd be seeing her this many seasons later, but we see a little bit of growth. She talks about wanting to have a family. And I really this episode was, you can't really be snarky when there's it's just competition, but sometimes she was on the side of Treehouse, which would kind of mean girlish to a degree sometimes. So this felt very equalizing in some ways, and good for her.
Yeah, I mean,
Brett
all of
Brett
them. I mean, I mean, we're talking
Brett
about Kayla. I mean, we could go down one by one if you want to, but yeah, each person, they all came in having ran a final before, so they've been there, done that. But for some of them, it's been such a long time that these finals have been different. A little bit upgraded, one might say. How hard they are. So
well,
there's a
within the
let's say respect for all of them just to get there
there
and
you go.
not quit.
Respect is the word for sure. Within the four, they all have great things to say, but I think the one I was attached to the most was Brad for a couple of reasons because he was one I would want to win. We loved the San Diego season, so we're always going to be a little biased to Brad. And I've said some stuff even in this particular season. Episode one. Well, Brad is less than smart. I think I said that a couple times. Making a moronic decision. I've had my moments where I was a little worried about Brad, but he pushed through, and I really would have liked to see him win. And I do like that he said to the camera, I'm just gonna keep getting stronger, and I'm gonna come back, and I am gonna win. And so I think when they're coming to casting, like he's inevitable to come back, and it's a full picture with him. It's a full picture with him. You've seen a lot of growth, and it just felt so close. I felt like it was in his hands. He dominated all season, so I'm very, very crushed that he didn't. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, sometimes in these games you could play almost a perfect game and not win, and so that's why when you do have a chance to win, it's a privilege, and you should hold on to it, and you should be able to celebrate it because you can play the best game, but there's a little bit of luck to some of these as well. When you get thrown in, when you don't, or so you can play the same game over 10 times and have 10 different winners, perhaps.
this is true. Watching them, the non-winners, I'm like, oh, it's sad, but it is part of the game. But flipping up to our new stats here, Wes is now a three-time champion, and Janae is now a two-time champion. The song that plays is by Scandal, Patti Smith, The Warrior, which is a song I've been like kind of humming in my head recently. So it was really funny that came on. I guess I always like hum to 80s music anyway. So I thought that was great. There was this aerial cinematic shot where they were just kind of, I think Wes was like boxing and Janae like had her hands in the air. And it's just a beautiful moment, where you're just like, oh my gosh, this show, it has gotten us to have to talk about some of the craziest of things, recapping it and, diving into different viewpoints and, how you see things. But the accomplishment feeling was great. And I was so happy for them.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, I don't have much more to say about the season. I mean, I
You could say,
think
I am the warrior.
maybe not that, but I mean, you pretty much called out the winners that who you thought were last week when you said it was Wes and John A. And looking at the way they did the final, I don't think it wasn't really a fluke. Like it seemed like they kind of earned it from start to finish in the finale.
Ain't that something? You asked the question, who do I think? And that was my prediction. That is just,
You're like the show, and you got it right.
people should start listening to me much more often. I keep saying. And I've had my Wes isms were sometimes too, well, I don't need the money and I'm rich and I'm got this great life, or I'm gonna fool everyone here on this. He was a bit much for me, but I will say that the grown upness, it's not a word, the growing up did kind of and the humble win was suited for him. It was a good win, and it was kind of cute to hear like, oh, I can't wait to tell my wife, but by the way, I'm going to buy this vehicle. It's like you want to see. Wes kind of puts up a defense a little bit when he's taunting the camera sometimes, and he thinks he's really funny and all that, and it's it's very easy to get soundbite edited when you talk that way all the time. So he thinks he's like magic, but sometimes I'm like, I want to see the real you, and I felt like the end I saw a little bit more of the real him, and that's episode 9 and 10, so there was a little progress there, is what I thought.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. Yeah.
Did we so we talked about where we rate the did you have any last thoughts on the way that final ended? Did you want to see TJ one more time, or that was about it? Everything worked out fine?
No, everything. I think you covered it all. I mean, you can say so. Your admiration for Wes, which is surprising, was profound, and I think you covered it all.
You didn't see a little.
I had good job, Wes.
I mean, I saw like a little bit of difference, and that's the thing about people. It's like, and we should all do this to each other.
Well,
like,
Ronnie, I tell you all the time, the other stuff's just for the TV. Like, that's what they want him to say.
Oh, I know, but it's still garbage. But not garbage, but it's just what I'm saying is you could still do that. It's kind of, who's a good example, like I always don't like it when they say, oh, but they're a good reality star, they're great television. You can't, but some people just really aren't that good at it, but they still are that messy. Not messy. Like Lala from Vanderpump Rules is a bad example.
We're hitting Vanderpump. We might be hitting our time, Ronnie.
Okay, well, I was going to explain something to you, but I won't. Yeah. But you can go over, or I can go over for you, and we could just speak to your opinion on just everything here. And again, Janae, Wes, congratulations. We said it, and I was going to give a whole example.
Both worthy champions.
Yeah, both worthy champions. I won't go on the tangent of Vanderpump. That's for another show, another day, another dollar. Support the Patreon, damn it. No, but do actually add to that. That's do. Please do that. That is patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr. Or the website itself is RandomlyRonnieJr.com, where all of the videos are, all nearly of our 30 videos that are for this show, the Challenge All-Stars, and other stuff. Yeah. In addition to hundreds of other things, and I say hundreds meaning actually hundreds. And on another channel, there's more hundreds. So why don't you go write something?
Up, go get it.
Go write something nice and do it today. But another little comment, which will take us out of the show here, will be the breakdown of the confessional persons of the week.
Who do you want this one? I mean, I'm going to go with Wes. He's the winner. I felt like he took the episode kind of from start to finish. Like you said, you got a little bit more humble Wes in his confessionals, talking about his wife and stuff like that. And for him coming out, I think he won 2 of those challenges when he was real young, and it's been a while. So this one probably does mean a lot to him.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to go with him. I mean, we can, like the way it goes is there's my nomination, Richard's nomination, then we choose. But I was going to say, I don't strike Brad as being so sarcastic. So the fact that he was like, great, I just did this shit, and then I got to go up a hill with 100 pounds in rain, tired as hell, as heck. Whatever. Thank you, TJ. His sarcasm in that confessional is good because he's not really a sarcastic person that much. And to me, that was the one I was going to choose. And it was at a fun part of the challenge too, or the checkpoints rather. It was at a fun time. So that was what I was going to go with. I was going to choose Brad, but I guess it's kind of hard to predict Brad if he's not the winner, and Wes was.
And coming into this, Wes had two confessionals of the week. I think Derek had two as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Wes won this one. If that, he would not only be just the winner of the year, he would be the confessional player of the year as well.
That's
A double
true.
whammy.
And it definitely pains me to say it, but yeah, Tyler was our week 1. Tina was our week 2. It was almost Kayla, but it was Tina. Our week 3 was Derek. And we were excited because Derek had been a little quiet the first couple episodes, and Derek's really good at this. Darrell was week 4, and I think it was him just not taunting, but telling TJ, "I don't like heights, damn it." And that was a fun memory for Darrell. Week 5 was Wes who did win it, but Derek was like really close because he made that Challenge Mania honorable mention. You know how we were like, oh, if you can make your podcast part of the show, but it not be too thirsty. It was like seamlessly done. You definitely get an honorable mention. And that week, actually, that was week 5. I like Janae's quote of the week, which is not actually a category that we do, but I did like the way she took Beth's stars and said, "Thank you for your stars." And she said it like such a bitch. I mean, in a good way, in a good way.
And you can see that was Wes's first like confessional of the week. So he got stronger with his confessionals as he got a little bit better because we were saying how bad he was at the start of the season.
Yeah, he picked, and that's week 5, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Week 6, we had Kellyanne. I wrote that it was almost Derek because Derek was saying, "Well, what do you want me to do competing with Bionic Brad with his bionic beard?" And Derek just makes it fun, and that's kind of where that is. Week 7, we actually did choose Derek. He had good energy in this episode, and it is what you want to see. We miss it when he's not all through the confessionals. He's good at narrating the story, and just he's just fun at that, really. Week 8 nominations were Johnny Bananas and Kellyanne, but we decided not to give a winner because the pole wrestle itself was to be continued, and we said our announcement will be to be continued. And week 9 or the week 8 payoff, it did turn out to be Johnny Bananas because we were like,
Johnny Bananas, welcome to the show.
If you can make that much of an impact in such a little time, and of course the show does kiss his ass a little bit, but hey, he showed his ass, so it kind of works. He was up against Kellyanne, who's really been delivering, but he didn't.
She definitely turned it on the second half of the season too.
She didn't win. She's like, my FU meters out of here. And then week 9, based on the emotional confessionals, as I stated, we're starting to see was Wes. But yeah, if we do Wes again for 10, that's what'd you say, Richard? 1, 2, and 3.
Confessional champion. Now, what's more important? You think he wants the $250K or confessional champ of the year?
I think he's very proud that he won the first annual another random recap Ronnie and Richard Confessional Person Award of the Year, and he got a trophy of a high five. Round of applause.
Woo! I concur.
Round of applause. That's all you get.
Way to go.
But I think he would be happy about that. Yeah, a great season. I'm going to put up a photo here of all the competitors. Any last thoughts on just everybody? Because, when you get it whittled down, you are kind of following the stories of our main, final competitors. But there was so many great characters. Is there anyone you just were kind of interested to see coming back or anything like that?
I mean, I'm sure we'll get most of them back here and there. You always want to see a little shuffle of the cards because even a person here in the game or a person out of the game is going to change the game completely. But no, I mean, everyone that was at this season, I wouldn't mind coming back. If you want to ask who I would want to come in, I mean, like I said, Emily, she was a beast back in the day. She would be kind of fun to see. I would like to see a season with just like all the top girls of like the Laurel with the Emily with I think Cook was pretty good. Cara Maria, like
was Cook from Las Vegas also?
Where was Cook from? Was she Vegas?
I can't remember what her original season was. I don't think she was I don't think she was a fresh meat, and that she was after Road Rules. I thought
she was on a was it not? Why? I want to say Cancun, but that seems too far back. She's not that.
Oh, it's okay. It's a silly question. We can move on.
Yeah, you got me thinking. But sometimes, and I mean, you almost got to put the John Hay in it now after winning 2 in a row. So I mean, let's bring it.
That's incredible for her. That is really fun. That is, um, and she did it without MJ. She felt like really connected to him. So, she got to stand on her 2 feet on this one, and yeah, people really like her.
I'm thinking
Uh,
you're right now about the Vegas for Cook. Back to Cook. Now it's on the head.
yeah, it was the go big or go home where they kind of had eliminations or whatever on that season. I think it was interesting. You were able to like get voted off the season or fight, and that happened too. Um, well, I don't know who I want to come back or whatever, but I thought this was a really great cast, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the Paramount Plus decides to do. There hasn't really been a lot of announcements on it, but the challenge itself will continue. With Challenge USA will continue, and the flagship show will continue. So tons of shows that are going to be similar to this, but this is its own special breed of content, and we get to see Mark Long, being the godfather of it all, and that's fun. So I was in with the finale way more than episode 9, and I loved all the other episodes too. So just one little hiccup for me, and that's about it.
Yeah, good season, good everything. But wait, was it? Oh, TJ says he watched the CBS show. Oh, is that? Yep, they're calling me. Hold on, I gotta go. Production's calling.
Is Richard
I
getting
gotta
another?
go. Hey, TJ.
There goes Richard talking to TJ in production. We appreciate your viewership, your listenership, checking out the show. Hope you liked it. It's definitely unique and fun. And that is the end of the Challenge All Stars Season 3. Talk to you later, and hit us up on Patreon and all that good stuff.
TJ.
Thank you. Stop talking to TJ, Richard. Stop. TJ, we're not talking to him. Maybe we are.
Hey, Ronnie Jr.